Imagine getting slapped with a $3,000 fine by your HOA just for cruising on your pontoon boat across the community lake. But this savvy homeowner flips the script, legally seizes control of the entire lake, and slams the HOA with a massive $1 million penalty that'll make your jaw drop. Buckle up for this ultimate revenge saga, where petty rules meet epic comeback. Asterisk, what's up, folks? If you're hooked on those outrageous HOA battles and Karen meltdowns, you're in the right place. Smash that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and give this video a thumbs up if you've ever fantasized about sticking it to your neighborhood tyrants. Drop your wildest property drama stories in the comments. We love reading them. Now, let's jump into this lakeside showdown. Asterisk, nestled in the rolling hills of Evergreen Shores, a gated community boasting pristine homes and a shimmering central lake. Life appeared picture-perfect on the surface. The protagonist, Jordan, a retired environmental engineer with a passion for boating, had purchased a lakeside property 3 years prior, enticed by the promise of serene waters right at his doorstep. The lake, a man-made reservoir spanning 20 acres, served as the community's crown jewel, ringed by walking paths, picnic areas, and docks reserved for residents. However, the Homeowners Association, led by the iron-willed Beatrice, enforced a labyrinth of regulations that turned paradise into a bureaucratic nightmare. Beatrice, a former corporate executive in her 60s, ruled with an unyielding grip, her committee of like-minded enforcers patrolling for the slightest infraction. Asterisk, Jordan's troubles began, innocently enough, with his cherished pontoon boat, a modest vessel perfect for lazy afternoons, fishing, or hosting small gatherings. The HOA's covenants allowed non-motorized boats and small electric ones, but Jordan's pontoon, equipped with a quiet outboard motor for stability, skirted the edges of the rules. Beatrice, ever vigilant, spotted him one sunny weekend, gliding across the water, waves lapping gently against the hull. A warning letter arrived days later, citing a bylaw against disruptive motorized watercraft that could allegedly harm the lake's ecosystem. Jordan reviewed the documents. The rule was vague, implemented years after the lake's creation to curb noise complaints from non-lakeside residents. He responded politely, explaining his boat's slim-packed design, but Beatrice dismissed it, escalating to a $200 fine for the first offense. Asterisk, undeterred, Jordan continued his outings, believing the rule unenforceable given the lake's original design for recreational boating. The fines accumulated: $500 for the second violation, then $1,000 for the third, each accompanied by stern notices threatening liens on his property. Neighbors whispered about the escalating feud. Some sympathized with Jordan, sharing tales of their own petty citations for overgrown hedges or unauthorized bird feeders, while others sided with Beatrice, fearing relaxed rules would devalue the community. Jordan's property, with its private dock extending into the water, became a focal point of scrutiny. Beatrice organized lake inspections, where committee members circled the perimeter in golf carts, binoculars in hand, documenting every ripple. Asterisk, as summer faded into fall, the fines reached $3,000, a sum Jordan refused to pay, arguing the HOA lacked authority over what he viewed as shared waters. He delved into research, poring over property deeds and environmental reports from his engineering days. The lake, he discovered, was fed by natural springs and connected to a nearby wetland, subject to state environmental protections that superseded HOA whims. Beatrice, sensing resistance, rallied the board to approve stricter measures, including mandatory boat registrations and fees for lake access. Jordan attended a tense community meeting, where agendas brimmed with his case, though no voices clashed in this narration. Pointed agendas and furrowed brows conveyed the divide. Asterisk, frustrated, Jordan consulted a local attorney, specializing in property law, uncovering a crucial detail. The HOA's title to the lake was flawed. When the development was built 2 decades ago, the lakebed was never fully deeded to the association. Instead, it remained partially under county jurisdiction due to its ecological significance. Armed with this, Jordan began quietly gathering evidence of the HOA's mismanagement, overuse of chemical fertilizers on surrounding lawns leaching into the water, unchecked erosion from poorly maintained paths, and illegal dumping of yard waste by maintenance crews. His pontoon outings now doubled as surveillance missions, equipped with water testing kits that revealed elevated nitrate levels, a clear violation of state clean water standards. The neighborhood buzzed with undercurrents of unrest as leaves turned golden. Beatrice doubled down, sending certified demands for payment and threatening legal action. Jordan, meanwhile, filed complaints with the state's environmental agency, submitting photos and samples that painted the HOA as negligent stewards. The agency launched a preliminary investigation, inspectors arriving unannounced to sample the waters and interview residents. Beatrice dismissed it as a nuisance, but cracks appeared in her facade as board members questioned the escalating costs of defense. Winter's chill settled over evergreen shores, blanketing the lake in a thin layer of ice that halted boating but not the brewing storm. Jordan's refusal to pay sparked debates in online forums and driveway chats, inspiring a few residents to challenge their own fines. Beatrice, feeling her authority slip, proposed a special assessment to fund legal battles, burdening all homeowners with extra dues. This move backfired, alienating even her supporters as bills arrived amid holiday expenses. Jordan, patient and methodical, awaited the agency's report. His home, a hub of quiet strategy, with maps and documents spread across the table. As the ice thawed, signaling spring's approach, the first official notice from the state arrived, citing the HOA for minor infractions, but warning of larger penalties if unaddressed. Jordan saw his opening, but the true leverage lay ahead, in reclaiming control of the waters that had sparked it all. With spring's renewal came a surge in activity around the lake, as residents emerged from winter hibernation to jog paths and launch kayaks. Jordan, emboldened by the state's initial findings, escalated his efforts to challenge the HOA's dominion. He petitioned the county for a review of the lake's ownership, presenting historical plats showing the water body as a public resource with riparian rights, extending to adjacent properties like his. The attorney uncovered that the developers had intended the lake as a common amenity but failed to secure full title, leaving a portion under easement for environmental preservation. This loophole allowed Jordan to apply for a stewardship permit, positioning himself as a guardian of the ecosystem against the HOA's alleged neglect. Beatrice, alerted to the petition, mobilized her network, lobbying board members to counter with their own filings. The community divided further. Lakeside owners rallied behind Jordan, tired of restrictive rules that limited their enjoyment, while inland residents feared changes disrupting the status quo. Inspections intensified, with HOA-hired consultants testing waters to refute Jordan's claims, but their reports inadvertently confirmed minor contaminations from runoff. Jordan's water samples, meticulously logged, showed patterns of pollution tracing back to communal areas under HOA maintenance, excessive pesticides on the golf course perimeter, stormwater drains clogged with debris, leading to algal blooms that choked the lake's clarity. As temperatures rose, so did the stakes. Jordan hosted informal gatherings on his dock, sharing findings with neighbors under the guise of barbecues, fostering a grassroots movement for reform. Beatrice responded with newsletters decrying disruptive elements threatening property values, but her rhetoric rang hollow as more residents questioned the $3,000 fine's fairness. The county hearing approached, a pivotal event where evidence would be presented. Jordan prepared dossiers detailing the HOA's violations, including photos of eroded banks where improper grading had caused sediment runoff, violating erosion control ordinances. The hearing unfolded in a sterile county office, with maps projected and reports dissected. Though no arguments echoed, the weight of documents shifted the balance. Officials noted the HOA's incomplete deed and Jordan's credible environmental concerns, granting him provisional control under a conservation easement. This allowed him to oversee lake activities, effectively taking over by enforcing sustainable practices that superseded HOA bylaws. Beatrice's team appealed immediately, but the decision stood pending review, sending shockwaves through evergreen shores. Empowered, Jordan implemented changes, banning chemical treatments, mandating eco-friendly boating, and opening access to all without fees. The lake revived, fish populations rebounding as water quality improved. Beatrice, humiliated, pushed for a vote to dissolve the current board, but support waned. Residents enjoyed freer use, pontoons and canoes dotting the water without fear of fines. Jordan's $3,000 debt was nullified in the ruling, deemed invalid under the new oversight. Yet, the victory felt incomplete. Jordan's deeper dive into records revealed systemic issues. The HOA had ignored mandatory environmental impact assessments for years, potentially facing hefty penalties. He compiled a comprehensive report, submitting it to federal agencies overseeing wetlands. As summer bloomed, inspectors returned, this time with broader scopes, uncovering violations that could cripple the association financially.